Charging, solar, and other good news, battery factories in the works, and when someone loses focus, someone else steps in to fill the gap. We'll discuss all that and so much more today because I have got my good friend Mark from the Tesla Life with me today to go through it. We love our good news. It's so much fun. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Oh, Mark, how you been, man? How have you been?
Doing well. Had yourself a great weekend. How about you, Brian?
I had a lot of fun. I went up to the tiniest Drive Electric Week show. It probably had 40, 50 cars in a little town called Stillicum in Washington near Tacoma. And it was, what a beautiful city. It just looks out over the Puget Sound. It was gorgeous. So much fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I had a fan come out because I announced it, and another guy who didn't see the announcement and was just very surprised to see that guy from that thing here. He knew who I was.
That guy from that thing, yeah.
That's what I call all celebrities.
That's facial recognition right there. That guy from that thing.
Hey, why don't we talk about some stories? This is a little bit of an older one. I don't remember if you shared this with me or if I shared it with you. I think you shared this with me. It was a while back, but it's a great story. The state of electric truck charging in mid-2024.
Yes, indeed.
Tell me what's going on here. And first of all, what a beast of a charger this is. You got to push some serious juice through this thing.
You can't be a lightweight moving that thing around. Plugging it into different trucks. That's got to be a workout for sure.
I think one of the challenges with this plug is they've got to keep it under the OSHA limit of 50 pounds.
Yeah, that definitely would be the case.
And what would you compare the diameter of that cable to? Because I was thinking pepper grinder.
You know what? I think it might be larger than a pepper grinder.
It might be. I don't know what to compare it to.
That's maybe a V8 can.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that's quite large. It's quite a diameter. And of course, it's not showing the amount of cable behind it that's plugged into the unit. How much does that weigh? That's, besides the plug itself, that's a hefty amount.
And you have to put a good sheathing on it because it's going to drag across the pavement a little in places.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. So, what is the state? What is the good news?
Well, this is talking about how things have started to improve in the trucking industry when it comes to electrification. We've seen a push in California and some other states as they've started to ask truck manufacturers to get involved with electrification. And standards, of course, have been produced. We've got now lightweight, medium weight, and now even Class 8 heavy trucks are starting to roll in from different manufacturers. Even the traditional guys like Freightliner, like Western Star, they're all coming out with different versions. Typically right now, there's a lot of the medium type trucks. So the 26-foot box trucks and flatbeds are the ones that are starting because, of course, they take a little bit less energy to move around. When you get to the big 48 and 53-foot trailers, that's the maximum weight. That's the Class 8 truck that, of course, the Tesla Semi has been introduced to handle. But this is good news because, of course, where do a lot of these trucks belch their emissions? In the towns and cities that they're delivering to. So having them idle along on surface streets inside of a city, inside of neighborhoods is really the worst place for them to do that. Having an electric truck being able to have zero emissions going through that town, it's going to be a big plus for us as they start to come on in mass.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the flag of Switzerland, but it's also a big plus. So in other news, we've got here, this is 18 new EV charging stations to be built across Arizona's interstate system. And this is great. It's exciting stuff.
Oh, this, of course, is the different states that are applying to the federal government for grants on building out their infrastructure on interstate systems. So Arizona was really big on promoting that this is not coming from taxpayers in Arizona. This is coming from the federal government, this money. So they are saying that, no state funds are being used. It's strictly coming from elsewhere. because they don't want to get the taxpayers upset that possibly maybe are not agreeing with electric vehicle corridors being built.
Now, I would add a clarification here. Federal funds will cover 80% of construction costs, not necessarily. They will cover up to 80%. It doesn't have to be 80%. And if you wish to win the bid, you might only ask for 60% of your build cost because it does go to the lowest bidder. And now, while we're covering this for Arizona, it's everywhere. There's Milwaukee, there's Pittsburgh, there's Ohio. I mean, it's all over the map.
All the states are actually submitting their plans. Actually, almost all the states. Florida, for whatever reason, is not submitting anything yet. So they're a little bit behind the times. But the states that are on the ball, knowing that this funding is available for them to pick up, they're submitting their plans with private companies that are building these projects. They're going to maintain them. They're going to run them. And this is going to be a little bit of the Wild West, I would say, when it comes to all these different systems. Obviously, the federal government, with the money that they're allocating, there are hoops that you got to jump through. You got to be able to maintain them. You got to have an uptime percentage that matches. But there is a lot of different companies, Tesla being one of them, that are out there applying for some of these amounts of money for interstate systems.
Now, in phase one, there's a lot of misunderstanding that, it's, 9 billion. It's not 9 billion. Oh, it's 7.5 billion, right? That's the total amount over many years. We're only a few hundred million into it. And it's only built, eight chargers or whatever. No, those are the ones that are completed. It takes time to build them, guys. Relax. But the big problem is, Mark, and I hope you've got some good news for me, is where on earth are we going to get all this extra juice? Do you have any ideas where that could be from?
Yep. There is, as mentioned here, 80% of new electricity capacity came online this year from solar and battery storage. So Guess what? It's energy we already have. We're just saving it more efficiently.
Now, it was pointed out to me by a power plant engineer that batteries are not a source of power. They're a load. They draw power, but they're able to do it at different times, which is still helpful. This number is set to rise to 96% by the end of the year. And and look at that, a stock photo of solar panels. I got to be honest, I do like a pretty picture in my story. Solar alone made up 60% of the 20.2 gigawatts of time travel capacity that went online from January through June. Pretty sure that's how you measure Mr. Fusions. And of course, with this story about the US, right? That's what it is. We've got a stock photo of the Netherlands.
Of course, because that fits in so nicely with the story.
Yeah, because you can see how it's below sea level here, guys. It's fine. It is a beautiful picture. I'll give them that. So that's also good news. Now here's another piece of good news, and I know I haven't shared this one with you yet, but I don't know if you know, there are times when CEOs get distracted. Let's just be honest. And the good news is there's always going to be someone to step in and fill that need. Lucid CEO, we've taken the mantle from a distracted Tesla. Isn't that great? Oh, Peter.
What a fantastic title that is. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. We've taken the mantle from distracted Tesla.
Man, they just snuck in there and took it right off the mantle.
Unless Distracted Tesla is the name of a YouTube channel that went dormant and you bought it, I don't think this is true.
Oh my goodness.
Well, he's bullish on the Gravity and believes it can more than double the company's sales. Oh no, Peter, 2394 deliveries in the second quarter, which by the way, was a record.
Wow. Peter is really full of himself, isn't he? Maybe
They've
a little bit too full of himself to be good.
They've only sold high 4 digits, low 5 digits of Lucids. And I swear I've seen every one of them because I see them quite a bit. I see them as almost as much as Rivian's, and Rivian's outsold them substantially. Interestingly, on my drive out to that car show, to that Drive Electric event, I saw no fewer than 3 Cybertrucks on the highway. Those are just the ones I noticed, but I also saw 3 Rivian R1Ts and a Rivian delivery van, which I was like, I know, I'm a nerd. This is exciting to me. It's not quite space travel exciting, but it's close. It's close.
But this is a good news show, Brian. We've got good news, right? Like Peter stealing the mantle as Tesla sleeps.
I am excited that there is a non-zero chance they will survive to the point where they get to make their midsize. And if they do that, if they can survive long enough to get to their midsize vehicle, they absolutely could survive. Their shareholders will be diluted to an absurd degree, but it's exciting, and I have more faith in them than Fisker. At the auto show,
that's easy because Fisker's now gone. So,
speaking of gone, at the auto show was an Arcimoto, and this couple who have owned their fun utility vehicle for some years. And my friend Ryan and I were standing there, Lightning Ryan Fulcher, who has a Cybertruck and has let me drive it. We said, yeah, Arcimoto, huh? Yeah. They're like, yes, we love our Arcimoto. We're like, yeah, I meant the company. Yeah, we love the company. I'm like, yeah, do you or did you? No, we actually needed parts and we ordered them and they arrived recent, like a couple weeks ago. We're like,
what?
Really? Apparently there's still someone in that big empty shuttered building other than just, the ghosts and the rats, which is what I thought it was primarily made up of at this point. But apparently they're still in some form of operation.
They're still delivering parts.
And then they said, what's neat is because they didn't have service centers, when you had service that needed to be done, they would send a mobile tech to your house and just do it there. And we're like, oh no, how many times did you need to do that? That's why they went out of business. That's why they weren't selling into other states, is because they couldn't service. They had customers waiting all over the country, but they were so spread out, they just couldn't make it make sense.
Yeah. If you were required to fix those in all those different states, the costs would escalate rapidly.
Oh, yes. Yes, they said. And of course, people, well, what's the range on it? Like, well, I don't remember, 120 miles or something in the city, less if you go on the highway. And all of us were like, yeah, you don't take it on the highway. We do not take it on the highway. No. Well, no, you don't, because it's a little hairy on the highway. And I've only seen one video of them on the highway, and it was a promotional video. And, well, I wouldn't feel comfortable on the highway. On an Arcimoto. I love them. They're fun. I had some stock for a time. I've gotten to ride them in Eugene. We took one out as a rental. A lot of fun. But we're here to have some fun time, happy, good news.
Good news.
So we got one more story for today. And guys, we will be back tomorrow with more good news, because there is good news. It's not all doom and or gloom. It is neither. Sometimes Samsung and GM finalize agreement to a battery joint venture.
Oh my gosh, GM's doing another joint venture with another battery company.
Well, Tesla does not joint ventures, but Tesla buys batteries from almost everyone. All the big players, apart from SK Innovations, sell batteries to Tesla. BYD for the long range in Shanghai, LG for Europe, and some models in Europe and some models in Shanghai, Panasonic, of course. They build their own batteries. If you've got good batteries, they'll buy them. So this is a big deal. $3.5 billion to build a new battery cell plant with a capacity of 27 gigawatt hours, which is great. That's like the capacity of Giga Nevada originally. It was more like 35, but that's still a substantial amount of production. And it's Samsung, which gives me confidence.
Yeah, but GM's had multiple battery deals with LG. In fact, they've had some issues with LG, and they've actually backed off one of the timings for an LG battery plant that was already agreed to.
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is supposed to be good news. I'm just...
Well, yes. The trick is, I'd love to say, well, yes, but this is Samsung and they're a world-class company, which is true, but so is LG. So is CATL. These are all top shelf players. So I don't know. This is, maybe this is a silver lining that I'm looking for. In the comments, I'd love to know what you guys think. Is this a silver lining? Has Brian lost his mind? Don't answer that. No, do answer that. Hey guys, do me a favor, would you head on over to the Tesla Life, check out the podcast, see what Mark and Casey and Pat are up to. Patrick is a local here in my area. Who knows, you might run into him randomly. Of course, when I ran into him, he wasn't wearing his hat, so I was like, huh, or his sunglasses. I was like, huh, you look different without those. Interesting. But I still had my trademark face, so he knew who I was. Unfortunate for everyone. Guys, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below. Stay tuned and juicy and come back tomorrow, won't you, for some more good news.
Yeah, yes.
We got to have it.